Well, Citizen State Bank is a fourth-generation, family-owned bank. Since 1873, the bank has serviced thousands of customers in communities across central and east central Indiana. In this month's Culture Matters segment, we look at the bank's newest location, the first full-service banking branch in the Nickel Plate District in Fishers. First Person Managing Director Paul Ashley is here now to talk about how some of the best practices that other companies are just now starting to do, Citizens has been doing for a long time. Paul, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Gary. We
talk about an old family-owned bank. This Citizen State Bank really fits the bill. Perhaps charter number 3 in Indiana, been around for a long time.
Yeah, its roots go back to 1873, the post-Civil War construction era. We know for a fact that it's the third oldest active charter. It might actually be the oldest because they can't locate charters 1 and 2 where they exist. So.
And this is a bank, too, over the years that has remained and still is today family-owned.
Absolutely. It's transitioned through a few different families, but smooth transitions. You think about that longevity they've had with as a family-owned bank. Couple world wars, Great Depression, Great Recession, and they've managed it really quite well.
Resiliency, to be sure. Okay, let's talk about in our Culture Matters segment. Culture does matter for this bank, and it's interesting. This is I'd say an old school bank, old line bank, been around for a long time, but it's doing a lot of things that newer companies are just now kind of latching on to.
Yeah, we talked off camera and said old bank, new ways, and I think that's a mantra that's fair. One of the things they've done in that new Fishers location is they've built a branch style that feels almost more like a spa, quite frankly, when you walk in. So when a customer walks in, it's a very unique customer experience, and of course that transitions to the employee experiences. And so as they begin to expand their market, I think they have about 13 branches now, they are looking to use that same footprint and remodel old banks that they have to change the customer and employee experience. And I think their long-term goal is to look at other central Indiana locations that are possible.
Yeah, so this is really in keeping that with trying to continue to keep things fresh, old line bank, in really one of Indiana's, perhaps Indiana's newest city.
Yeah, it is, and it's such a good fit for what Mayor Fadness is doing in Fishers, all the tech-centric business that's growing up there, and then the expansion of downtown. It's pretty neat to see them fit in.
Let's talk about the culture at Citizen State Bank. As we were talking off camera, it's really culture that's developed from the bottom up.
It is, right? Yeah. So Dan Maddox, a really thoughtful, younger CEO. I think Dan would be happy if I said he's clearly under 40. He looks very, very young. But Dan, whenever he does the strategic planning, which he owns as the CEO, it always starts with an employee survey. And a lot of times that's not true. Most companies, it's top down. They start with the employee-centric view of what's happening and then build up to a plan that then the entire organization owns. And I think that's a big impact to their culture.
A number of other things they do at the bank. Time off, for example, for volunteer work. Citizen State Bank University. Talk about some of the initiatives that really get to the culture at the bank.
Well, I've got to get in front of our CEO and founder Brian Brunner and say, be more generous, because we thought, and we do, it's very generous. We at First Person offer 8 volunteer time off, VTO, volunteer time off. Citizens for years has done 20 hours a year and actually holds their employees accountable to volunteer in the communities in which they serve, live, and work in. And that's just an expectation of giving back. So volunteer time off. They also do the Citizen State Bank University, which is a training and development program. And a lot of folks have this, but they clearly do something well. A great example of this is their current chief financial officer started in the bank as a teller, a frontline teller, kind of the entry-level position. And because of their thoughtful training program, they've been able to build him up into his career where now he serves as the chief financial officer.
Great information as always. Paul Ashley from First Person. Citizen State Bank, one of the state's oldest bank, perhaps oldest operating banks, doing some cool things in the culture space. Paul, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Well, thanks for watching Inside Indiana Business on YouTube. For the latest statewide business news, be sure to visit InsideIndianaBusiness.com and subscribe to our free daily e-newsletters by clicking on the link.